So Petr Yan manages to beat Cory Sandhagen and win the interim bantamweight title, interim UFC bantamweight title, in a very contentious decision. A lot of people think this was a very close fight to some extent, and the first 3 rounds I actually had Cory Sandhagen winning quite comfortably. But then I think the tide started to turn when Petr Yan landed this back fist in the 3rd round, and he dropped Cory Sandhagen towards the end of the last 3rd round, and he managed to put it on him, and it was quite impressive actually, to be fair. Out of nowhere he just came with this back fist, and he managed to drop him, and he put it on him. He literally put it on him, and it was quite brutal the way he actually managed to quite easily just put him in a position where he looked vulnerable. But thankfully the bell rang, and I gotta give a lot of credit to Thingy's corner, Cory Sandhagen's corner, because they said to him, listen man, just forget about it, it's just a blip in the road, short-term memory, just forget about it. And it was quite impressive, man. It was quite impressive what actually happened. He managed to actually recover from that, and he gave a very impressive performance afterwards. I felt like it was one of the best performances of Cory Sandhagen's career, but unfortunately he didn't get the decision. I think Petr Yan, after that, after he dropped him with that spinning back fist, he started landing harder shots at that point, and it was quite impressive the way he managed to make that adjustment. Don't get it twisted, Cory Sandhagen definitely had his moments at that point, but from that point onwards, I feel like Cory Sandhagen just kept coming forward, kept pressuring him. Not Cory Sandhagen, sorry. Petr Yan kept coming forward, kept pressuring him, and he put him in a position where it looked like there was no way that he was going to actually recover from that. So yeah, just from that perspective, I just think literally Cory Sandhagen still is in the mix. I mean, regardless of what you think of him, there was actually a point in the fight where I thought he was actually going to win, because he built up an early lead, and I think to some extent you can say the decision is kind of I wouldn't say it's controversial, because it was a close fight. It was definitely not a robbery, because again, it was a close fight. Petr Yan definitely landed the harder shots, but just seeing it from the perspective, in terms of the volume, in terms of the amount of shots landed, I feel like what's that called? Cory Sandhagen landed more of the more shots in terms of volume. In terms of pure volume, Cory Sandhagen definitely landed the more shots, but in terms of actual effective striking, I think I have to give it to Petr Yan. Petr Yan landed the more significant striking, but then again, Cory Sandhagen definitely had his moments where he landed a great flying knees as well. So just from that perspective, I think I just have to say it's probably a very impressive showing from Petr Yan. Obviously he's won the interim belt, and the only way he could go from there is to fight Aljamain Sterling again, which is an impressive fight. Just based on their last fight, I have to give it to Petr Yan. I think Petr Yan's going to win. One fight that I really want to see is Petr Yan versus TJ Dillashaw. I think that's an impressive fight. Them two fighting each other would be very fun. But yeah, I think it's very fun to see what's going to happen next in terms of both of their careers. My money's on Petr Yan actually winning the title back by beating Aljamain Sterling. I think Cory Sandhagen's still there. He can still rematch either of them, whether it's Petr Yan or what's it called, Aljamain Sterling, or TJ Dillashaw. He can fight all three of them, like give rematches to all three of them and still be competitive. I think he's a legitimately top 5 type fighter, because he's been competitive against all these fighters. He's never intimidated by them, and he just feels like I think he's in a position where he knows he can give them good fights, and I think he knows that he's a legitimate top 5 bantamweight fighter. I mean, his fight against TJ Dillashaw, a lot of people thought he won. This fight, I felt it was contentious enough to have gone his way. Like, if it would have went his way, I wouldn't have called that a robbery, like, from that perspective, just based on the fact that in terms of volume, he was landing more striking. Like, he was landing more strikes. So just from that perspective, I think you could potentially give the fight his way. And then just from the perspective of him as a competitor, he's been very competitive against all of these people that he's been up against. So yeah, I think I feel bad for Cory Sandhagen, because it's many times now that he's got into a position where he's come close, but he's not quite got it over the line. Against TJ Dillashaw, he came close, but he didn't quite get it over the line. I think he may eventually win a title in his career, but he's just been unlucky. He's been very unlucky. So yeah, that's just my opinion. Tell me your opinion. What do you think about this fight? Who do you think won? Who do you think lost? Who do you think? Where does each fighter go from here? Like, what do you think happens next? I mean, I think it's interesting. The bantamweight division, I think, is an underrated division in MMA, in the UFC in general. I think a lot of fighters don't get a lot of shine. It's not the glamour division. He's not quite as glamorous as lightweight or welterweight or middleweight or light heavyweight, but I think in terms of competition, it's definitely up there. You've got animals in this division. I mean, you got great fighters in this division. So yeah, that's just my opinion. Tell me your opinion. What do you think about this? Who do you think wins? Who do you think loses? Who do you think is going to come out on top in terms of the bantamweight division? Who would you put money on to come out becoming the man? Like, in terms of who do you think would you actually think would actually come out on top? Do you think Aljamain Sterling can somehow do something against Petr Yan? I highly doubt it, just based on how much Petr Yan dominated Aljamain Sterling in their first fight. I just don't see it happening. I could be wrong, but I just don't see it happening. I don't know what hope he has in there against him, because say what you like about Petr Yan, but like he's legit, like, regardless of what you think about him. And he does look like he's coming for vengeance for the belt. He feels like it was some bullshit that he didn't get that decision the first time round when he fought Aljamain Sterling. So yeah, just from that perspective, I just think and the ironic thing is, Aljamain Sterling beat Cory Sandhagen via submission, so it's a very live division. Just from that perspective, I just think it's a division that's just full of talent, and there's a lot of people that just want to be in a position where they want to fight for that title. So it's a very competitive weight class. I mean, I think at any moment there could come a time where he manages to win the title. I could see it happening one day. I'm talking about Cory Sandhagen, by the way. So yeah, just from that perspective, I just think it's interesting to see what's going to happen next. Yeah, it's a very interesting division. It's a division that's actually full of talent, packed full of talent. There's a lot of fighters that may be seen as underrated as well, just in that division alone. So yeah, that's my opinion. Tell me your opinion below, and like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.